Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Daryl Amy.
Daryl here, and I'm excited to share with you one of the most innovative tools we've come across in a long time. Our partners at Why Institute have developed an amazing platform that helps people discover their why operating system. It's truly amazing. In 10 minutes or less, you can know why you do what you do, how you bring your why to life, and what people can count on from you. It's truly the first step in self-awareness. If you're a coach or a sales leader who believes in helping your people understand who they are so they can be the best version of themselves, you've got to check this out. All you need to do is go to whyinstitute.com and look for the Why certification page. We'll put the link in the show notes. When you reach out to the Why Institute, let them know you heard about it here on Selling from the Heart, and you'll be on your way to helping your team discover what drives them. Welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Daryl Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Where do I start? We have so much stuff going on, but I look outside my window this morning. The leaves are changing color. The temperature's starting to drop. Fall's in the air. So much to be thankful for, Daryl.
A lot to be grateful for. And here we are at the beginning of Q4. This is the time to finish strong. And we're so glad you're here with us today. You're going to love this conversation we've got coming up with Andrew Sykes. And Larry, I'm so thankful for our friends who are encouraging each other right now. I mean, this is the time we got to get it done at the end of the year. And we've got a community of sales professionals that are encouraging each other in the Insiders group. And it is so great to get together and just see everybody. I just love to sit back and watch what's going on.
Oh, the transformation's incredible. And if you're going, where can I get some of this? Come hang out with us. Daryl's got it scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Come hang out with us every Friday. It's 9:00 in the morning, West Coast, noon on the East Coast, and whatever other time zone you're in, figure out the math on that one. We have a great time, but I just want to give a special shout out to a guy who's just near and dear to me. His name's Brian Kelm, and Brian wears his heart on his sleeve. He is an absolute genuine, heart-centered guy. We enjoy the interaction. Brian leads his life that way. Come hang out with us. I promise you this, you won't be disappointed.
Absolutely. That's sellingfromtheheart.net/free-pass. Sellingfromtheheart.net/free-pass. It'll be in the show notes. Come hang out with us, and you're absolutely going to love this community of like-hearted sales professionals. Speaking of like-hearted sales professional, we're joined today by a visionary who is reshaping the landscape of sales, Andrew Sykes. With 30 years of experience spanning 6 continents, Andrew has a profound understanding that at its core, sales is truly a game of trust. Yet, astonishingly, the world of sales is often seen through a lens of skepticism. Tackling this paradox head on, Andrew and his team at Habits at Work are on a groundbreaking mission. They're not here just to teach sales or leadership. They're here to revolutionize the very essence of trust in the industry. Their goal? Transform sales into the most trustworthy profession worldwide. Andrew, welcome to Selling from the Heart. It's great to have you here.
Daryl, that is the nicest introduction I've ever had. Thank you, my friend. Way to build trust. It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh, dude, we are in for a treat. Andrew, so great to see you again. I promise everyone, this is going to be one phenomenal conversation.
We're in for a great one. And Andrew, as we get started, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers, and that is, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
Yeah, love that question. For me, it means being committed to helping another human being make progress in their life. That being your North Star, the thing that drives every action, the thing that inspires you to get up in the morning and go to sleep at night. How might I help another human being make progress in their life? I think that's what selling actually is. And I'm of the view is that if every salesperson did that and that alone, my life mission would be over. We would indeed be the most trusted profession on the planet. Instead of the case being as it is now, every survey in every country says least trusted people are salespeople. And I think that's a real shame.
Oh, I hear on that one, but I want to camp on a word you used in the very beginning because I don't hear it used often enough, and that's committed. And so as we get started, and again, just to emphasize, you may want to grab several sheets of paper for this one because I think there's going to be some writer downers on this one, Daryl. But what's committed look like to you, Andrew? Walk us through that because you used it. I mean, is the first couple words you used. What's that mean to you?
Yeah, I love that distinction because for me, I used to think that making a commitment and making a promise were exactly the same thing. And I don't believe that anymore. So commitment for me is both mindset and a promise and the courage to live your life according to other people's expectations, even though they haven't expressed them, which is a really strange thing to say. And maybe the best way I can illustrate it is with a story about my kid, my little boy, Lex. He's 10 years old now, but when he was 5, we got a dad trip together. And we go into the mountains. I wanted to show him the redwoods, but the trip before had been a disaster because he gets car sick. So I made a promise to him. I say, Lex, promise you we're not going to spend much time in the car. Day 1, we're 4 hours in the car, and clearly I've already broken that promise. So I do what I think any dad would do. I start like doubling down on it. I say, hey, kiddo, why don't we just go like up the mountain? That way we won't have to drive at all tomorrow. It'll be cool. Trust me. So we get to the top of the mountain and gets altitude sick in addition to car sick. So it's like
the double whammy.
No, so now I'm panicking and I say, hey, kiddo, I know I promised you this and I've broken that promise, but why don't we go down the other side of the mountain? It's only about half an hour. It's really a windy road. It'll be lots of fun. Trust me. Third promise. And then it starts to rain. So now half an hour becomes an hour. We're near the bottom and I'm exasperated because I've been managing this for like 5 hours. And I hear this little voice from behind me say, Dad, I think I'm going to throw up. And in my entrance for Dad of the Year response, I say, Lex, just look out the window at the horizon. It'll be fine. And I don't even get the words, trust me, out. And he throws up all over himself 5 times. And then he says, Dad, can we stop and clean me up? So my second entry into Dad of the Year, I say, Lex, it's pouring outside. Like, just live with the vomit. We're 10 minutes from the hotel. When we get down there, I'll clean you up. We'll go for ice cream. And the good news is I do. We get down, I clean him up, and the vanilla ice cream basically saves the day. At least I think. 3 days later, we get home. We're sitting in the kitchen, and he's telling his mom how it went. And he's talking about, all the things we did. And then he looks at me and he says, Dad, do you remember the part where you didn't love me? Where you just let me sit in my vomit? I'm like, kiddo, firstly, thanks for selling me out. But in that moment, I realized something, which is I had kept a bunch of promises to him. But what I didn't do is what he trusted me to do, which is get out the car, clean him up, and give him back his dignity. Even his 5-year-old self had that need for not sitting in his vomit. I wouldn't want to do that. So he had an expectation. He had, in fact, voiced it. But in that moment, I realized, you know what? I've been walking through life thinking that if I just do what I say I'm going to do, I tell the truth and I have good intentions, I have perfect trustworthiness. And what I now know is that's integrity. It's a different thing. Being trustworthy for me means living my life as if my promise is what you expect me to do. And other people say, well, Andrew, that's ridiculous. How can you do that? You don't even know what other people expect. And I say, exactly. That's your opportunity. It's your magic bullet, your secret weapon. Because if you're the only person who says, Larry, I promised to be on time for the show, but may I ask you, what else do you trust me to do? What else, Daryl, do you expect me to do? You're going to tell me. And maybe some of them I can't do, and I'll tell you that. But maybe some of them are gems. Like you say, Andrew, I expect you to wear a green shirt. If I didn't ask, I wouldn't know. But because I asked, I now have a secret weapon. And for the first time, your expectations and my promise might match. And it's changed my whole worldview. I used to tell people, under promise, over deliver. I don't do that anymore. In fact, I think that is a silly strategy. I now say, just ask the question. What do you trust me to do? And keep asking it, because people's expectations change over time. So it's a conversation. So back to your question, a commitment for me is a living promise that always invites people to add into your stated promise their ever-changing expectations so you can negotiate to an agreement.
Wow. This is so powerful for sales professionals when it's so easy to go out and assume. We know what happens when you assume, and wonder. We're left scratching our heads. Why is this person not trusting me? Why is this deal stalled? Why can't I get this moving forward? But it sounds like the fundamental question we didn't ask is, what do you expect, and what does this look like for you? What does great look like for you?
Yeah. And the truth is, I ask this question a lot, and often people say, I don't really know. And so sometimes I have to seed the conversation. I say, for example, do you have expectations for how I reference you, for how I present material, for how I communicate with you? So I can offer them things. And it often says, well, actually, now you raise it. Yes, I do have expectations. It really annoys me when you follow up when I've told you that I'll come back to you in a week. So it's a conversation rather than just the question. And, you brought up assumptions. Having spent the last 5 years deep diving into the research on trust, I got to say, all the things I assumed, dare I say, I knew to be true about trust turned out to be completely wrong. One of which, my favorite for salespeople, is that trust takes time to build. When in reality, it happens in microseconds to minutes. But people say, Andrew, I have this lived experience. I've spent months building relationships. And my response is, that's what it felt like. What you were likely doing was clawing your way out of a trust hole that you didn't even know you stepped into or got pushed into because you were assumed to be an untrustworthy salesperson. And you never dealt with that in the first 3 minutes, which was the only time you had to address their concern. Who are you and what do you want? Which most people answer, oh, you're a salesperson. You want to sell me something I don't need in a time frame that's uncomfortable for a price I can't afford. Unless you address those questions up front, restoring trust does indeed take months. But building it in the first place, it's a minutes game, a seconds game.
Oh, this is so powerful, because what you just said is pure gold. And I believe this as well. And I just don't think enough in sales pay attention to this. It's the first couple minutes. It's the first 5 minutes of that conversation is going to determine what happens next. Yeah. And it really does. And we just need to start paying more attention to this. But I want to go back. I just had to say that. And thanks for setting that up, Andrew. I want to go back to this research. What else did this research start telling you that got you to think differently about trust? I'm curious on this one.
Yeah. Well, the first was realizing that trust is something we give to other people. It's choosing to vulnerably expose ourselves to someone else's deception, incompetence, or lack of a track record. So it's a generous thing to trust someone, but being worthy of trust for ourselves and being trustworthy as assessed by someone else, it couldn't be more different. Because I wish it were true that people would get to know you long enough to judge whether you tell the truth, to see whether you have good intentions, and to measure whether you do what you say you're going to do. But they don't. Interviewers and customers will tell you, before someone even got out of the elevator, I decided that I'm hiring them or I'm not hiring them. So we assess trust based on false signals. I mean, sometimes they're useful, but they're mostly thin slices of people. And that's the most profound thing I've learned about trust is It is got very little to do with whether you internally can be counted on, and more to do with other people's judgments of you based on their experience of people like you in the past. So if I've been, manipulated by salespeople in the past, you can walk in the room as the most integrous person on the planet with a badge that says salesperson. I don't trust you because it's my assessment, and that's what matters. And the opportunity for salespeople is we can manage how people make those judgments if we design our first impression. And, you show me a sales leader who says, trust is obvious, we've got this. I'll show you a sales leader who has spent no time at all helping their team design, practice, and perfect their first 3 minutes. Show me someone who's done that, and I'll show you someone who has amongst the most trustworthy sales force on the planet.
Wow. Incredibly practical and very focused. And this is something we want to continue to unpack as we go on in this discussion. Right now, we're going to take a brief time out for some words from our sponsors, as well as one of our friends at Selling from the Heart sharing what it means to him to sell from the heart. So let's hear from Tony Cross, a brief word from our sponsors, and then we'll rejoin this amazing conversation with Andrew Sykes. Are you ready to unleash your business? Work Better Now provides incredible full-time remote talent that positively impacts your business from day one. Free your time and resources from administrative tasks and from tedious hiring activities. Whether you need an executive assistant, need to staff up a department, or you're a high-performance sales professional that simply needs more time, Work Better Now's reliable, full-time, and dedicated remote workforce is vetted and matched specifically to your operational needs. Larry and I have enjoyed having our Work Better Now assistant, Carmen, on our team for almost 2 years, and she has made an enormous positive impact on our business. Head over to workbetternow.com to schedule a free consultation and transform your business. When you mention the word heart during your conversation, you will receive $150 off for the first 3 months of your service.
And I believe in using your head in selling. But that is all useless unless you can connect to your heart. So for me, it's about, your purpose. Why are you in selling? What gets you up in the morning, and who are you inside? And I think when you bring those two together, then you become successful. So you really are clear on your why, as Simon Sinek would say, but you add to that your mindset. And the two make a really powerful combination.
I love it.
Hey, Andrew, you got to like it. Tony Cross is from your neck of the woods, dude.
I was going to say, was this a coincidence or was this a gift that he was another South African? That's awesome.
I love it. I absolutely love it. By the way, if you'd like to send a video in for an upcoming episode of Selling from the Heart, just text the word video to 21,000. That's video to 21,000. We'd love to hear from you about what it means to you to sell from the heart. Andrew Sykes is here. We're talking about this incredible topic of trust. It's pivotal. We live in a very skeptical world. And you're saying from the research, Andrew, that 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes are the most pivotal moments of a relationship when it comes to sales. So where do we start? What should we be thinking as we dive into the first 3 minutes of a conversation with someone we're just getting to know?
Yeah, well, I think there are two parts to that. The first is, what do you do before you even open your mouth? Mm-hmm. And the way you dress, the way you show up, the way you carry yourself. But most importantly, do you smile at people with a genuine Duchenne smile, like allowing yourself to be grateful for and happy at the opportunity to meet someone? And you look into their eyes or into the camera so it feels like you're looking into their eyes, because eye contact, at least in Western cultures, and smiles are two signals that this is someone I like, and we collapse likability with trustworthiness. But I think it's as you open your mouth that the magic happens, because I believe that the feeling most people have when we're approaching them as salespeople is not unlike that feeling when you're out on the streets and you're going about your business and you see 3 young adults all in the same t-shirt with clipboards. And one of them is going to try and stop you for a signature for some money or something else. And so you take out your cell phone or you're doing something to avoid the contact. That feeling is what our customers feel because they're asking this question, who are you and what do you want? And if they believe you to be a salesperson, they will answer those questions without listening to you as, oh, you're a salesperson. You want something that's in your self-interest. So when it comes time to say, my name is Andrew, and let me tell you a bit about myself or introduce myself, that's the moment where I think you can change someone's early judgments before they harden into conclusions. So rather than saying, my name is Andrew, I'm the head of sales at, or a salesperson or an account executive, reinforcing and inviting the reputational mistrust, I encourage people to say just three things. One thing about my credible past, one thing that happened to me or that I learned that had me choose what I do today so that I can demonstrate passion, and the privilege of the impact I now get to do today. So as an example, to illustrate the difference, the bad looks like, I'm Andrew, I'm the head of sales, and I'm so excited to talk to you about the Habits at Work products today. I can't wait to dive in. I've been doing this for 30 years. We've got people in 7 countries. You should see the results we get. So excited. Or, my name is Andrew. I've had the privilege of working with customers from some of the world's leading companies for 3 decades. But 5 years ago, I realized that without trust, nothing else matters. And today I have the privilege of helping extraordinary humans become the most trustworthy leaders and sellers on the planet. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Boom.
This is good. So now let's continue. Let's just continue this. Hey, this is role playing 101, man. I love this stuff.
If you're not prepared to practice on your peers, you got to blow it with your customers.
That's right.
So now let's continue this. So now, Andrew, you just roll that out just from your experience. By the way, that was pure gold, right? So now there's that pause, right? Because now that person's picking them up off the chair going, what just happened? What's usually the response that happens next? Walk us through that just from your experience, because you're rolling this out. So what usually tends to happen in the next 30 to 45 seconds?
2 things happen. If you get it right, a lot of people say, wow. And what they're saying wow to is not, wow, you're extraordinary. They're saying wow to the transformation in their thinking, which is, I wrote you off as this slimy sales guy, and now I see that you're someone with passion, purpose, humility, and let me listen a little more. And the second thing they do is almost without fail, they ask a question about it. Because you've offered them a little slice of your humanity, and people are curious. So they'll ask, well, tell me a little bit about, the experience you had, or really, you had this profound moment. What happened? What did you learn? And I've found that if people invite you to share, they're open to listening. If you force it down their throat, they'll resist with everything they've got. So I like pauses because they invite people to ask me questions rather than me telling them what to do, which is never a good look for any salesperson, any human.
What a phenomenal piece of advice. And I think this is one that many of our listeners are going to be rewinding this section and really diving into this. In the few moments we have left here in our conversation, this has just been incredible, Andrew. I'm curious, what are some of the other surprising things that you learned about trust that you went, whoa, I did not expect this?
2 things. Number one is that apologies usually break trust, not restore it.
So walk us through that just really quick, because salespeople are over. I'm just going to go there. How many times they're overly apologetic? Yeah,
I'll do it by demonstrating. Here's the breaking trust version. I'm late. I'm so sorry. Traffic was terrible. You know what it's like. It won't happen again. Please forgive me. And people say, sure, it's no problem. But they really mean this is someone who can't be counted on. Versus, I am late. No excuse. I know that has an impact on us. I can only imagine that was both frustrating and maybe caused some other problems. May I ask, Larry, what's the impact on you of me being late? And Larry might say, Andrew, I'm feeling ill-prepared for my next meeting because I was stressed out. And then I say, Larry, given that impact, here's what I propose to do to fix the impact. I'm going to call Daryl, tell him that you are going to be late in turn and that it's my fault. And you can count on me to never be late again. So you first say what happened without excuses, because the difference between reasons and excuses, I have reasons, you have excuses. So what happened without excuses, then you distinguish or bring to life through questions what the impact was, fix the impact if you can't, acknowledge it if you can't fix it, and then you apologizing at the end for the impact you had, not for feeling bad. If I say I'm late, I'm so sorry, I'm saying sorry because I'm late and feel bad. But what I'm really apologizing for, if I put it at the end, is the impact on you. And that's what matters. So that's one, is like apologizing first breaks trust. And the other surprising result I found is how little people trust themselves to keep promises to themselves. Ooh. I think we all feel like I'm really good at keeping promises to my customers, my spouses, my kids, partners. But I'm very quick to sell myself down the river. You know, I'm quitting gym today because I'm keeping a promise to my customer. I gave up on my life dream because I'm committed to raising my kids. So it's surprising how easily we treat ourselves badly as customers when it comes to trust.
And sorry, but here I am. I just apologize. So what's the impact that's had on you?
What
Andrew?
impact did that interruption have?
Smokes, Dr. Phil moments. I should get a freaking couch on this one, dude. I forgot what I was going to say. That is so bad. I just like spun out the minute the freaking apology word came out. Andrew, I go, dude, game over on this one. Yeah. Just total game over. But no, what I was going to say, you know what? I'm over. I've already blown the horn on this. But
well, let me pick up the pieces. Andrew, you're working on some pretty exciting projects these days. And I know the way that I just absolutely love the way that you think about life, sales, and relationships in all of this is very, very powerful. What are you most excited about right now that you're working on?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking that. You know, I have such a privilege. I teach at a business school, Kellogg School of Management. I lead Habits at Work, which is a beautiful opportunity to help salespeople. There are two other areas of interest for me at the moment. One is an organization I'm part of called Serene or Serene, Cerene. It's an experience company that helps curious people become unrecognizable to themselves in all the best ways. And the relationship to trust is there are so many areas where we have said to ourselves, you know, I can't sing, I can't do math, I can't do this. And we have a story that just isn't true that makes our life smaller. And what I've discovered is the only way to unlock the greatness in us that hides behind our blind spots is to have generous people like you say, Andrew, here's what I trust you to do with your life. And to point to things that you see in my potential that I don't see in myself. So we do that in Serene or Serene as we pronounce it. And that's a pure joy. And I just said earlier, one of the things I discovered about trust is we don't trust ourselves. I am becoming a performance poet. And boy, is that taking a lot of self-trust, because I grew up thinking poetry was soft, certainly not something that I would ever do. And now here I am attempting to become good at the skill, and it's testing my self-trust.
I love it.
Drop some poetry on us. You got to drop something. Take us away with drop some poetry. You just got to take us out on this one.
Well, I believe that your voice creates your reality. But my reality, what makes me internally? Nature or nurture? I can't quite see. Science had said could help us see. To be fair, let's start with no bias. Assume it's 50-50. Nature, Lisa, versus nurture, Tobias. That's the beginning of a 7-minute poem. So
Yeah. Hey,
I love it.
Andrew, you gotta come back. You gotta give us some more of Andrew Sykes one of these days. You up for that?
I would love to come back. And I'm looking forward to developing our relationship of trust. I'm so moved by the generosity with how you ask questions. It's one of the trust building skills I most admire in people like you. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Fantastic. Well, Andrew, as we wrap up, how can people get more Andrew Sykes in their life?
Well, assuming you want just that.
If you did well in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there's a few places. I'm active on LinkedIn. Look me up, Andrew Sykes, Sykes. When Habits at Work, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I love to grow my network and learn from other people. You can also email me at andrew@habits, HABITS, @atwork.com, or more simply, andrew@serene.life, CERENE.life. That's our unrecognizable business.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing time and your heart with us today. This has been incredible.
Made my day speaking to you both. Thank you.
You're awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Woo, Larry, wow.
Oh, this I told you, there was so many writer downers on this one. I mean, it's this to me, this just gave trust a whole new meaning. But just what Andrew really edified is this first couple minutes. And I've been camping on this one, and I've been beating this one into the ground, is we just do not place enough emphasis on what happens in the first couple minutes of a conversation and what's going on in the back of somebody's head.
Yeah.
And we got to bring this to the forefront, Daryl.
And the research demonstrating that trust is something that happens right away. It's something that we can create quickly or destroy. And this is such an important thing. I love the framework that he shared for how to think about that first interaction with somebody. I know I've got some homework from this, and I know everyone else listening in does as well. I really think this is powerful. And Larry, and we agree, we believe wholeheartedly here at Selling from the Heart that without trust, you're in big trouble when it comes to success in sales. With trust, not only do things happen more easily, they happen faster. It's so much more fulfilling along the way. So the things that Andrew was sharing today, incredibly powerful. And I'm so grateful for things like that you can put to work right away to help improve your sales career.
And speaking of putting things to work right away, for the sales leaders that are listening or watching, for senior executives who are leading sales teams who are watching, I encourage you, role play with your sales team, role play with your managers, walk through practicing the first couple minutes and just see the impact. Is this going to be uncomfortable? Absolutely, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get people squirming in their seat, but this is what professionals do. They double down on practice. Change how your salespeople are opening the first 3 to 5 minutes of their conversation. It's up to you as a leader, and I know you can do it.
Incredibly powerful. We're huge believers in role play here at Selling from the Heart in all of our programs. If you want to surround yourself with like-hearted sales professionals, and you do want to surround yourself with like-hearted sales professionals, I promise you're going to love the Selling from the Heart Insiders Group. Go to sellingfromtheheart.net/free-pass for a free pass to test drive an upcoming Insiders Group. You're absolutely going to love this group. Larry, we've got so many great things coming up throughout this fall. I'm excited to be here at Selling from the Heart in this community, leading this movement of authenticity in the sales profession. I'm excited about all of the people around us, and I'm excited that we get to be a part of something really, really special here at Selling from the Heart.
Here on that. We've just built a wonderful community. Stay tuned, because in the coming weeks, there's going to be some prizes. Some surprises we're going to unpack. Right?
There may be some prizes.
There might be some prizes. By the way, you never did give me my birthday present. I'm still haven't gotten over that. And that's been a month now, but nevertheless.
What do you buy a book for its birthday? I don't know.
Just buy me another book.
There you go. That can happen. It probably will. Hey, until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust. Pay attention to the first 3 minutes of your conversations. And most of all,
sell from the heart.